There once was a shofet, a judge, in Yerushalayim, in the Jerusalem court. And two young Haredi yeshiva students, a man and a woman, had just been married not so long before, maybe a year before, maybe two. Talking about 19, 20-year-olds. They came to court because they were getting divorced. And in court, they were trying to reach some kind of agreement and settlement between the two of them. And you have to understand, you're talking about people who, he doesn't have a job, she barely graduated high school. There's not much between the two of them. No major houses, no yachts, no vacation home in Florida. No, there's nothing that these two people actually own much of. They're gonna sue each other. It's probably over the potatoes and last week's chulet. There's not much to their name. And they come to court and they're fighting and they're cursing each other, they're saying terrible things to each other. And at a certain point, the judge, and I'm gonna point out, this judge was not an observant man. To me, that doesn't make much of a difference, but just in case you're wondering, he was described to me as a person with a bald, clean-shaven head, no kippah, an older man. And I say older with a lot of respect. Our rabbis tell us Zaken stands for Zeh Mi Shekana Chokhmah, somebody who has acquired wisdom. Clearly this judge was a man of wisdom. And he looked at these two, and he said, little boy, Yeled Katan, come here. It's a little girl. Now, this is court, you're a judge. It's supposed to be protocol here. It's a little girl, come here. I want you to hug each other. Two people that have been fighting for quite a while. They're not really so excited about hugging each other, let alone these are the two people who come from a society in which you would never hug in public in the first place. They said, now! They give each other a hug and they both start crying. It says, now little boy and little girl, listen to me. You're gonna walk out of that door and I never wanna see you here again. Go get a therapist, go talk to your rabbi, go figure out how to make things work, but you don't belong in my court. And he went home. And how do I know the story? Because Mori Harav Yaakov Peretz was the sandak at this couple's Brit Milah for their grandchild. Now, this is one of those happy ever after Hollywood stories. Those of us who've been in serious relationships and those of us who unfortunately have experienced divorce know that not all divorces end with a hug and a kiss. And then unfortunately there's some really bad things that people have experienced and suffered, and it's not intended to argue with that at all. But that the lawmaker could be sitting in an Israeli court system, and you can argue if Israeli laws are corrupt or they're not corrupt or they're about to be corrupt, or everyone has a different opinion nowadays on what's going on with the Israeli court systems. But one thing you can't take away is that at any time and place, when you have a lawmaker who understands the severity, the weight that is on their shoulders, that a person's life is in front of them, that person will always be able to tap into some wisdom that will cause them to do an incredible job with the tools that they have. And when you have a person, when you have the greatest rabbi in the world, greatest dayan in the world, doesn't matter what the title the person carries, who is insensitive, who is a cruel person by nature, who doesn't take things seriously. Could be they're not bad, there's nothing in their life is serious. So your life isn't serious either. Then that person's application of halakha to everyone's life around them is going to carry the stamp, the watermark of the person who applied that halakha to other people's lives.